everybody, this is the National Housing Market Report, and I have some great information from you as it has come in for information from May. And so in this month, in this June National Housing Market Report, we will be talking about things like price appreciation, low housing inventory, things that buyers and sellers may be experiencing right now, and what are some things that we definitely need to talk about if you're a buyer or a seller in today's market. We also are going to look at mortgage rate predictions and housing inventory predictions, and just kind of going over your concerns about, is this a housing bubble? Is this like the last time? We're going to kind of talk about that a little bit as well. If this is information that you're interested in, I got all of that and a little bit more, and we're going to hear what the experts have to say in regards to these matters. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. Hi everyone, so let's get into our National Housing Market Report. I do thank you for joining me today. I do thank you for your time. I have some great information for you, and I will be showing you different slides with the information and what our experts are saying. And at the end of this video, I will have the resource slides so you can see where the information has come from for yourself. Okay, so let's get into it. The first slide is from Zelman's June broker report, and it says, this month's overall home buyer demand rating equaled 86 on a 0 to 100 scale, down from 88 last month and making the first sequential decline since November. Okay, guys, so buyers have been out here, of course, competing for homes because of the low inventory. And just to review that quick economic lesson of when you have a decreased supply and a high demand, of course, we see greater prices or increased prices, right? So we have low supply, low amount of homes on the market, and all of these buyers are competing. And some of them guys are like first-time home buyers or people who are needing to move or relocate, and they're all competing for, you know, these homes that are on the market. And that competition sometimes can, after you've tried and you tried on several different homes and maybe have not been successful, it begins to become a buyer fatigue, and where the buyers kind of get like, okay, I just need a break from it or something. So that's what we're seeing in this slide from Zelman. Basically is that buyers are kind of like pulling back a little bit and not wanting to buy at this time, or maybe even thinking now may not be the right time for them to buy. Okay, so let's look at our next slide here, and it says percent of respondents who say it's a good time to buy. And when you look at the slide, you can see the information from May of 2021, which shows us that there was 35% of the people said it's a good time to buy, versus in June of 2020, 61% said it was a good time to buy. So you can see how much of a decline it is from around this time last year to this time, going down from 61% to 35% who think it's a good time to buy. Yes, those mortgage rates have been low, and that's driving buyers to the market. But after so much competition and trying to find a home, and sometimes compromising as to what you want in a home and all of the things that you have to do to try to get into the home, some buyers are like, maybe it's not such a good time, right? Okay, so that's the nature of this housing market that we are in currently. So let's look at our next slide, which shows us the realities of buyer fatigue. So the reality basically is that there is record price appreciation. Prices have been going up, and that price appreciation being partly due to all of these buyers in the market. When there is low supply and that high demand, the prices are going up and home values have been appreciating, and buyers have been coming forth with the means to be able to buy these homes. So that's why another reason why they say the affordability is still there, because if they're able to buy it, then it's still like considered affordable. But yes, so that is part of the reality, is this price appreciation. Another thing is the extremely low inventory. So we don't have as many homes currently on the market, and that means that buyers are very much in competition. 3, there are record high percent sales over the list price. So once again, you are competing, and if the home is listed for $100,000, for example, you may have so many buyers competing that come in and may do $150,000, and they are offering that much over the price, the asking price. And then you have the cash buyers who are coming in, who are purchasing homes and leaving those who need the financing through the loans kind of like to be pushed to the side. And sometimes you can still compete when you have those loans, but you really have to try to position yourself in a manner. So the next point of realities of buyer fatigue would be the record low days on market, meaning that the homes are not really staying on market very long. So again, the realities of buyer fatigue is historically low mortgage rates. And so we know that mortgage rates have been low, but as we will talk about a little bit later in this report, is that mortgage rates are projected to increase. So what should we be talking about? Like, okay, if you're a buyer out there, there's some things that we definitely would need to discuss, right? So if you are a buyer, first of all, your agent, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, or even if you just haven't been in the market for a while, or even just if you're a buyer, okay, your agent should be kind of prepping you for what this housing market is, what the realities of this housing market is, because many have not seen a housing market like this, okay? So it is good to prepare to know, okay, these are the things, the challenges that you may face, and these are the things that we can do to win with these challenges, and how we can best position ourselves to win in this market, right? Okay, so one of the things that we want to talk about as we look at this next slide is some buyer talking points, is to expect a turn in the market in the coming months, and it's already happening. So by that, we are starting to see slightly more homes. Another talking point that we can talk about is the market's still hyper competitive. Just like we've been saying, we're competing with offers. 3, summer is when serious buyers commit 100%. You could think about that like in the summer, you know, that's prime time. You want to move. People don't like to move during colder months. Sometimes they got children. They want to go ahead and get their kids into the school system where they want their kids to go to. Or there may be other factors, maybe with job, and they got to start a new job or so forth. But the summertime is usually when you see a lot of more activity within the market. So the serious buyers, they're out here, okay, and they are competing. And you don't want to get left behind. So if you want a home, keep looking for a home. You know, don't give up, because the mortgage rates are low, and that is definitely going to help you. And prices are expected to continue to appreciate, but maybe not as the rate is appreciating now. That may slow a little bit, but it's still expected to appreciate. All right, so let's look at our next graph here. Okay, this graph shows month inventory of homes for sale. So on this graph, we can see the buyer's market and seller's market. So with this, we can see that it's expected to be for 6 months or less to still remain a seller's market. Okay, they're saying within 6 to 7 months, we may see the market begin to neutralize a little bit. And then when it's over 7 months, we may begin to see that turn to a buyer's market. So we're already here in July. So looking at about 6 months later, we may begin to see it neutralize. But after or more than 6 months, then we'll be talking about possibly being into a buyer's market. So again, when you might want to talk to your agent about this, if you're a buyer or a seller, because as a buyer, you definitely want to know when it's the better time to buy. It's in this market, by the mortgage rates being low, it's a good time to buy. for you, and knowing that those prices are still going to appreciate. It's just that you have so much competition right now. So you really got to be aware of that's what's going on, and really trying to look at all different aspects, off-market property, look at everything, and just try to position yourself best to win in this market. And then don't outbox yourself. Know what your finances are and what you can do, and don't overextend yourself. But know what you can do. Maybe you can give more on the closing date, when you can, maybe you can close sooner than somebody else can close, or maybe that's something you could write into your contract that another person can't write, and maybe that's what the seller really needs to see happen. Or maybe they need to do a lease back, or maybe they need to stay in their home so they can go find another home. So there's ways that you can compete in today's market. So that is just something to discuss and be aware of in today's market, going into it on the front end, so you aren't surprised and shocked and you start getting into it and like, what, how did that happen? Like, really? No. But if we set these expectations up front as agents, your agent does that and have those discussions with you, then you're better prepared on the front end than rather finding out later on through the process about how today's housing market really is. Okay, so yeah, so this market is very different than some markets and the other markets. Okay, so let's look at our next slide. It's talking about American home equity skyrocketed. And you can see here, I won't read through each one of these, but you can see that Americans, people are sitting on a lot of equity in their homes right now. Some people are owning their homes free and clear, and others have a large amount of equity in their home. And some people may not even realize it, and while others may realize it, they are not. Some may choose to pull out some of the equity, some may choose not to, but home equity has increased. Okay, so let's look at our next slide here, and it says, it looks like existing inventory is starting to inch up, which is good news for a housing market parched for more supply. Thirsty for more supply, you guys. We need some more supply. Okay, we're seeing another significant week-over-week gain in inventory, which is great news for buyers. And supply is expected to improve, which will give buyers more options and help tamp down record high asking prices for existing homes. So housing supply is expected to increase. This is good news for our buyers and something for sellers to be aware of, because if the inventory is going to be increasing and you're not on the market yet and you want to be, you want to think about that, because you want to be on the market when there's not a lot of homes on the market, because you want everybody to be picking and competing over your property. But when you wait and there's more homes on the market, yours may not stand out as much as with so many other homes to choose from. You may not have that competition to get your home, which is going to drive your what you get from selling your home up if you were to position it when there was not a lot of homes on the market. So positioning is very important. And then just being ready. Don't, as a seller, I would say, we're going to talk about some seller points, so we'll get there. Okay, let's talk about this inventory just a little bit more. Let's look at this next slide. Okay, so inventory levels, okay? This is looking at single family homes, and in general, you can just see here from January to May that the amount of inventory has increased, but we know that we've been in a low inventory market. So you can see from April though that our inventory has begun to kind of go up just a little bit here, and now we're starting to see more homes come on the market. All right, and next slide here by Mr. George Ratu, probably not saying that right, but the senior economist at Realtor.com. The improvement we saw in new listings growth from May to June shows sellers are entering the market historically later in the season, which could mean we'll see home buying continue into the fall as the buyers jump at new opportunities. So we are starting to see new listings grow from May to June, and we are seeing more sellers entering the market, but entering the market later. Usually like in the early spring, you start to see a lot of people starting to sell in a regular type market, But I think with everything from last year, with pandemic and everything going on, and till now we got people more vaccinated, so more people are starting to feel more comfortable putting their homes on the market. So we're starting to see it a little bit later this year, like when more homes come on the market. But the good thing is there are more homes coming on the market. Okay, so let's look at our next one. So what about our sellers? We're gonna talk up to our sellers, some things that we need to be talking about. If you're thinking about selling in today's market, or maybe you're currently on the market, one of the things you wanna think about is, looking at this slide here, don't be too unrealistic. Yes, this is a great housing market, but we always want to consider some of the same things, which is like price, positioning ourselves correctly with price on the market. You want to consider things like the condition of your home. And yes, there are a lot of homes that are putting their homes on the market and saying selling as is. And in today's market, people are still, buying as is properties. I do not recommend for you to waive your inspection. Even if you don't ask the seller to do repairs, you still want to know, because if you take on that risk yourself, you could end up spending a lot of more money to repair those things that need to be fixed on the property. So at least if you know, you can make an educated decision if you have that inspection done. So be very careful in this market, that you don't make a move that is maybe not the wisest move. Be very careful to do your homework, talk to your agent, be talking to your lender, and make the best decisions for yourself, okay? As a seller or a buyer, okay? So, all right, number 2 for seller talking points: wait and you'll miss out on an extremely attractive market. So I always say, do what's best for you. That's gonna be my first thing. But yes, this is a very good market. So if you wanna sell, you need to sell. There's a reason that you have to move. I was saying that you don't wanna miss out on this attractive market in selling your home. So if you need to sell, there are some people who need to sell because of a job offer they may have someplace else in another state. There are some people who need to sell because maybe it was a loss in the family, or maybe you want to be closer to your family with all the things that was going on last year. Maybe you just want to be closer to your family. Maybe you want to go move to an area where there's warmer weather. There are people, I'm in Tennessee, and there are people who are moving from other states like California or New York. Some people are moving to Tennessee because of our lower cost of living. So whatever the reason may be, people need a place to stay, and there's that low inventory. So as a seller, you don't want to miss out on this market where the prices are appreciating and you have buyers out here competing to buy your home. And if you position your house correctly on the market, you can definitely win as a seller in this market, and you can leverage that for a great opportunity for yourself. Okay, so next talking point: it's never been a better time to sell. For price appreciation will moderate as rates and inventory rise later this year. So we're gonna start to see some price appreciation start to go down now. Right now, price appreciation is very good, but as the time goes on into 2022, which is so odd to say, 2022, that price appreciation you will see in one of our coming graphs about that starting to go down. Okay, so let me keep moving on because I don't know it's gonna get lengthy. All right, so let's look at our mortgage rate predictions. Okay, this will help our buyers. So you can see here from all of the 4 experts: Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, MBA, NAR, or the National Association of Realtors. So you got 2021, the 3rd quarter, the 4th quarter, looking on into 2022, 2nd quarter. But you can see those mortgage rates, the average of all 4 of these experts are saying that the mortgage rates will increase. So it's really just a matter of by how much these rates will increase and how soon will they increase. But you can see the range here from 3.17% to 3.57%. So currently we're in kind of a good mortgage rate, but if you wait, those mortgage rate projections are as you can see, expected to rise. This is why we try to keep helping our buyers right now, because they're seeing good mortgage rates and they can get in and benefit from that price appreciation while it's still here. So it's still a good time to buy. It's just that competition, and knowing that on the front end definitely will help you. Okay, so home price forecast. Let's look at this one. So again, this one's in one of the previous national housing market reports, but you can see that the average of all the forecasts is about 8.9%. So we are expecting prices to continue to appreciate in this housing market. Next slide here, we always talk about new build, and you can see here what builder confidence slips a bit. And what they're basically talking about here is that builders are facing challenges, of course, we know, with lumber, but although lumber prices have gotten a little bit better, so that's kind of seeing a slight improvement. Labor is another challenge that builders are facing, as well as land concerns depending on where they are and where they're building. So that confidence they're saying has slipped just a bit, has gone down just a little bit. But we know that there have been like a 13-year deficit of new homes coming on the market, new construction homes. So that's a lot of years to catch up from. So it's not, I don't know if they can, well, they probably will not be able to catch up to that 13-year span of not having, you know, enough new construction homes coming on the market. So that is a challenge for the builders. All right, so let's look at the next one. I want to keep moving. Now let's look at our month-over-month change in housing inventory. So you can see on this graph that in the United States there has been an 8.8% change in housing inventory month over month. So that means that there are more houses coming on the market, slightly more houses coming on the market, which is a great thing for our buyers, and again, something for our sellers to be aware of. Okay, so let's look at our next slide here. This is from the Atlantic. The only places where McBride told me he could envision a bubble bursting are locations where urban residents bought second homes in a panic, only to have the urban core quickly get vaccinated and normalize in 2021. We might see some price declines in the second home areas like small towns in New England and other beach towns on the East Coast, but even there we just might see a shift where more people decide that they like owning second homes. Okay, so as you know, that people have been talking about this housing bubble, and is this like the last time? Which we have been saying that this is not like the last time where people you know, just quickly bought like in a panic. There was an influx in people buying second homes, and that may even be another source of inventory that may come on the market too. It's definitely an area that we need to be monitoring, because people during that time of 2020 with the pandemic, people bought second homes, and I done went there to kind of get away from everything, of just bought a second home. But now that things are kind of normalizing, getting back to normal, people are not so much with their second home anymore and may decide they want to sell it. So that is an area to keep an eye on, to see if we will have more inventory come from that area of second homes coming on the market. Okay, so let's look at this next slide. You can see this here. Second home market surged in 2020. And you can see where the primary home, and that's the year-over-year change in mortgage home purchases by purpose. But more second homes were purchased at a rate, they say here, at 27%. So yeah, now we may see those homes actually come on the market and be sold as well, and that will help with the inventory. Okay, all right, so look at this graph. This says home sales forecast to increase nicely in 2021 and do well in 2022. So 2020 total home sales is 6.5 million, and when we look at 2021, we're already above that. Even with the low inventory, we'd have had home sales to do pretty well. So we're already above that 6.5 million for 2021. And then when you're looking ahead to 2022, it's expected to continue to do well. with a range of 6.5 million to 7.5 million in home sales. So that's pretty good. It's good to see that it's still doing well in spite of us not having as much inventory. And this is from the experts of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the MBA. All right, so looking here at this quote from JP Morgan, home buyers' interest rates are still historically low, though they are inching up. Housing prices have spiked during the last 6 to 9 months, but we don't expect them to fall soon. And we believe they are more likely to keep rising. If you are looking to purchase a new home, conditions now may be better than 12 months hence. So this is from JP Morgan, and they are basically saying that these interest rates are great right now, and you may want to get in now if you're a buyer so that you can take advantage of those low rates, as well as take advantage of home prices having this wonderful price appreciation, and you will be able to benefit from that if you go ahead and get in now as a home buyer. And we could see this more better in next coming slides here. Let me pull this one up. Let's see. Well, let's talk about this. It says from Bill McBride, for quarter 1 2021, the net equity extraction was 41 billion or 0.8% of disposable personal income. There is nothing like the amount of equity extraction during the housing bubble as a percentage of DPI. So here they're actually talking about the with that whole housing bubble and people pulling out their equity in their home. People are not well, they said it was like 41 billion for quarter 1 2021. The net equity extraction was 41 billion or 0.8% of disposable personal income. But they actually, if you do the research, is saying that 10% of that disposable personal income was actually pulled out during the housing crisis. So we're only at 0.8%, and whereas at during the housing crisis, 10% of disposable income was utilized, right? So was extracted. So this is not like the last time, okay? So let's look at our next slide. Monthly mortgage payments increasing significantly. And basically with this slide, I'm just trying to show you that by these monthly mortgage payments increasing significantly, it is that people are buying properties that have the things that they need within their home. We saw that from the pandemic that people wanted things like their offices at home. They wanted a place to work out. They needed the extra space. Some had their family members up to stay, or, you know, they just needed that space within their home. And so now we're seeing these monthly mortgage payments increasing because people are buying the type of home that they need with that more space. So that's what they discovered they needed and wanted in a home during that time, and that's what they're buying right now. And that's why that monthly mortgage payments have been increasing. Okay, so when we look at this next slide here from 2021 State of the Nation's Housing, these outsized increases have raised concerns that a home price bubble is emerging. However, conditions today are quite different than in the early 2000s, particularly in terms of credit availability. The current climb in house prices instead reflects strong demand amid tight supply, helped along by record low interest rates. So today we have low interest rates that are helping. And then we also have conditions today that are different because of the credit availability. And they're not just giving people credit and stuff like they used to. You know, you got to go through some things to get pre-approved or to be able to buy a home. So those are things that are helping to make it different than the last time. Now, back to what I was saying about the forecast here for housing. Appreciation will begin to return to historically normal levels, right? So for 2021, we already said that it's like right now it's like 8.66% for price appreciation that we're seeing, and it's going to be going down. The prices will still be at a good level of appreciation, like 5.12%, but by 2025 you'll see it there. They are forecasting it to be is at 3.33%. so that price appreciation will not be as astronomical like it is right now. So you look at our next slide. This is a good way for buyers to look at it too if they're trying to buy a home. If you're a buyer out there and you were to buy a home right now that costs $350,000, this graph is showing you the potential growth in household wealth over the next 5 years based solely on increased home equity if you were to purchase that $350,000 home. They're saying in January 2021, you can kind of estimate from now, it is July 2021, but you can see if you bought the home for $350,000 that you stand to gain a price appreciation projection of $93,629 by the year of 2026. So over these next 5 years, you will be over $93,000 of equity that you will have gained in your home. So that's another reason why we're telling buyers that it's still a good time to buy if you can get in now and be able to partake in getting some of this equity growth, right? So, and for sellers, by not being enough inventory, you're in a great position to leverage that and to get the most out of the sale of your home, and getting these buyers in to see your home and to compete for the sale of your home so that they can get into the home. And yes, guys, and basically that is our housing market report for this month. So to wrap this up, you guys, this housing market, yes, it is so different, but it is very exciting in a way. You know, I mean, it's, as a seller, if you have to sell now, or if you have a reason that came up where you have to sell, this is a great time because you can really, if you're positioning yourself on the market before the rest of this inventory continues to go up, you can really reap the benefits of it by having buyers come and compete for the sale of your home. I would say also, like I said, don't be unrealistic, but to remember correct pricing, the condition of your home, keeping it show ready, doing those things to prepare your home, declutter, depersonalize, all of that, and making sure that your home is free of odors, different things like that, and just making sure that it shows well and you have your property available to be shown, so that you can get the most amount of buyers to compete for the sale of your home. And then as a buyer, make sure that you are working closely with your agent and your lender in doing those things to position yourself to be able to win in today's housing market. And I know that it is pretty competitive, but to just stay encouraged and to know that when it's right for you, it will be right for you, because maybe those other ones that you didn't get, if you didn't get them, maybe they weren't right for you, but you will get to the home that is right for you. And remember to keep your finances and what you're able to do in check and in your mind, and don't outbox yourself in the long run by putting in things in your offer that will really not help you in the long run. Protect yourself financially and in every way that you can in this housing market. Being wise and doing your education and looking at your homework, doing your homework for yourself. Okay, guys, that is it for this housing market report. I thank you so much for joining me. If this information has been any help to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And I definitely look forward to putting out more information for you, everything that I can to help you along your real estate journey with buying and selling. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.